If you are a sports person, do you get nervous when something important is on the line? Perhaps when you're playing tennis and you're preparing to serve for match point? Perhaps you've played golf with friends and it's coming down to that final putt. Outside of sports, are there times when you have to speak, make a presentation that, well, you just feel anxious about doing that? If you've ever experienced stress to the point that you are unable to perform activities that you know you can do that are within your skill level, stay tuned. I have a solution that you literally can hold in the palm of your hand. Steve Carter here, your host for Easy Stress Cures. I've been helping people release stress and achieve success for more than 4 decades. Learn more about my work and available resources you can apply right away by visiting my website, stressreliefradio.com. In an article published on March 15, 2022, in the online publication Medical Express, the title of this article, A Remedy Against Choking Under Pressure. To take a quote out of this article, choking under pressure refers to when people fail under stress. For example, during a sports competition, students who are unable to access previously acquired knowledge during tests, or public speakers who, at a decisive moment, are suddenly unable to get a word out of their mouths. All of these folks are familiar with this situation. There is a sports psychology working group that has been investigating this phenomenon for a number of years. They've been looking for solutions that will work in the real world. Research on a variety of sports, including badminton, beach volleyball, soccer, golf, taekwondo, gymnastics. All of this research has shown that squeezing a ball dynamically with the left hand is effective for right-handers in preventing choking. In the most recent research, they looked at this in the context of tennis. To quote the lead investigator, Professor Beckman, we've already succeeded in showing the positive effects of dynamic squeezing with the left hand in several sports. Our idea was to transfer this technique to tennis. Accordingly, we requested participants in our study, 17 and 18-year-old male squad athletes, to dynamically squeeze a tennis ball with their left hand immediately before they served. In the context of this study, we investigated the accuracy of the tennis serve, which was to be placed as closely as possible to a specific target. So how was this study undertaken? Well, the study split participants into 2 groups. One group performed the dynamic squeeze with the left hand using a tennis ball for 10 to 15 seconds immediately before serving, while the second group actively squeezed the racket grip with the right hand for the same amount of time. Following that, the 2 groups made 8 serves each with a specific target in a first round without pressure. The second 8 serves were done under pressure. In the group that had squeezed a ball with the left hand, accuracy remained stable for both series of serves. In contrast, the distance of the serves from the target increased for the second group when under pressure, and that indicated a drop in performance. So why exactly does this work? Because the squeeze signal generates a relaxation in the brain. The underlying assumption was that the right brain hemisphere promotes a comprehensive execution of a highly automated motor skill, while activation of the verbal representations of a skill with that brain activity occurring in the left hemisphere, that would result more in a fragmentation of the execution of the movement. And of course, this is detrimental to the flow of motion, and it negatively affects accuracy. Thus, for right-handers, squeezing with the left hand achieves a stronger activation of the right hemisphere. That was the operating assumption or hypothesis. However, researchers go on. Further EEG studies by our working group showed that the left-handed dynamic hand squeezing instead triggers more of a relaxation effect, what we refer to as reset mechanism. So what does this mean in English? This means the brain transitions to a high alpha rhythm, a calming rhythm, and that creates a relaxation across the cortex. The study goes on to tell us that it is not the activation of the right hemisphere which is increased, but rather the fear-related interfering linguistic representations in the left hemisphere. Those are inhibited, and that means that the automatic movement can once again be performed easily. So how can you apply this in your own life when you are faced with a situation that may be creating a level of anxiety? Professor Beckman goes on, the findings are highly significant in practical terms. The squeeze can become a part of a serving routine which players normally perform, but the applicability of the dynamic hand squeeze with the left hand goes well beyond tennis tournaments. Following an article on this technique in Scientific American, performing artists reported successfully using hand squeezing in their performances. The working group has also conducted initial investigations with patients suffering from non-organic vertigo, and they've had excellent, promising results with that study. Suppose you don't have a ball, no worries. Clenching the left hand into a fist and squeezing for 15 seconds will, in all probability, give you similar results. But you say, Steve, I'm left-handed. Can I use this? The study report goes on to say it has not been ascertained whether left-handers can correspondingly use the right hand. As yet, the research team has only investigated right-handers since the interactions of the various brain areas are in general more clearly localized for right-handers than for left-handers. I'm going to add my own thought here. We have about 10 to 12% of the world's population is left-handed. The challenge here is that not all left-handers have the same brain structure. In some left-handers, the brain hemispheres are reversed. For example, in normally wired right-handers, the left hemisphere mediates linguistic activities, language activities. For some left-handers, that is reversed. However, not all left-handers have this reversal. If you're a left-hander, my suggestion is to experiment with squeezing a ball or just simply squeezing your hand for the 15 seconds on your right and left sides when you feel under stress, and determine which gives you the most relief. I'll have this study information linked up in the show notes. If you would like to contact me about this episode or any of our episodes, or for any other reason, do email me at cartermethod@gmail.com, cartermethod@gmail.com. If you are not yet following or subscribed to the Easy Stress Cures podcast, you can do that wherever you get your podcasts. It is, of course, absolutely free. When you subscribe, you will never miss an episode. I encourage you to do that where you get your podcasts. And again, you can listen to previous episodes and learn more about our work at stressreliefradio.com. Until our next visit, your host here, Stephen Carter, wishing you and your loved ones blessings in abundance.